So I had a Bengal fan jump in the comments who's been a fan of the Bengals for as long as I've been alive. And he had all kind of sayings like, "Yo, you must be crazy. You must be this. You must be that." No, I must be quoting the stories. I must be quoting the news. I must be giving you reports of the news. I know what the score was. We seen the scores looking at the recap. 27-10 Bengals. All right, congratulations. But I do want to say this before you feel like it was all talent and hard work and ethic. Consider what I was teaching about the context of this. What are we talking about? Isolationists versus tribes. Who's running the world? The tribes or the isolationists? Is there more trillionaires or more barely thousandaires? Which is bigger? Do the numerology. 2 plus 7 is 9 plus 1 is 0. The zeros don't count. The total score on a numerological level turns out to be 0. What does that tell you? That is the rolling of the ball is a gateway, is a portal. This same CBS News story also covers that this game won by the Bengals saved the NFL. Read the story yourself, Bengals fan of 40 years. Read today's story. That this game that the Bengals won is saved the NFL. Now let me ask you this. Would the NFL for any reason, football, would it sacrifice its own salvation? Because the news story literally said, CBS News literally said, the Bengals saved the NFL. Would the NFL allow itself not to be saved for any reason? Are there any controversial games that you can remember in NFL history? Is there anything that seemed a little off? Any calls, anything like that? Well, you got to understand that that's coming from the top. All of the hits are real. All of the passes are real. All of the catches are real. All of the runs are real. But the script and who should win and when, all of that is planned. Why do you think these athletes are making as much money? They're not really making that kind of money just to catch a ball, just to hit a player. No, at that level of the game, the talent is so vast that there has to be a whole nother thing going on. It's how well they can play the game behind the game. I'm not a fan of either. I don't even watch sports. But this is just for a metaphysical teaching reason, and it teaches you something else about the tribes versus isolationism, that you really have more isolated billionaires and trillionaires than you have, those are the stronger ones. Because you saw that the Bengals won, right? That they walked all over them. They walked them. We saw those rushes, how many received. We see what the numbers say. And they were doing all of this, scored almost 30 points without an offensive line. Now, you tell me, where in NFL does that typically happen? And I'm asking a legitimate question because I don't watch. I'm just asking where. And understand, what the storyline is. Everything happens for a reason. Every score. Those people sitting in the skybox, they're not hoping to see which team wins. They know what's going on. Why you think they're never emotional up in that skybox? Pay attention. Now, for all of the Bengals fans, I'm not hating on y'all. The news says what the news says, and the score says what the score says. They said you guys did not have an offensive line, and that, it would be a stretch had y'all won. And now that y'all won, the same news is saying this saved the NFL because it stopped the divisional playoff game from being played at a team neutral site, which would have been bad for sport and bad for revenue. This is what they say. I don't know if that's true, but that's what that says. If they're saying that a team representing an isolational animal saves the entire NFL, then who are they telling you is running things? The trillionaire that's isolated from society in his own jungle, just might be him and a few other tigers? Or is it the Bills, the tribe, the crossing buffalo? Who's really running it? Is 85% of the world the wealthiest? Or is it still 98% of the world's wealth being controlled by the 2%? Wouldn't you call the 2% isolated? See, this was all a metaphysical teaching from jump. We were just using sports as an example. But since you want to, Bengals fans, since you want to make it about sports. Sports says that this game saved the NFL, that the Bengals winning saved the NFL. And you're a football fan. So as a football fan, do you think that for under any reason, the NFL would allow itself not to be saved and to risk potentially hundreds of millions of dollars of revenue? I'll leave you with that question.